Okay, so let's jump into something that's been making the rounds online. It's about Ariana Grande. Um, Specifically, it's about her weight loss and all the reactions.
Yeah.
All the reactions it sparked. So we've got some interesting perspectives to dig into. We've got some excerpts from a blog post. It's on valoralert.com, and an article from Life and Style magazine. Get ready. It gets kind of thought-provoking.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a sensitive topic, right?
I love it.
Instead of just jumping to conclusions, I think we really will unpack all the complexities of body image and how we talk about these things as a society, especially with social media and everything.
Yeah, totally. And, both of the sources we're looking at, they both highlight, the initial wave of concern that basically, flooded social media. When people started seeing pictures of Ariana, she was looking thinner.
Yeah.
Valor Alert even included this tweet from a fan.
Yeah.
That said, I pray Ariana Grande isn't battling anorexia or bulimia. She doesn't look well. Her old weight was gorgeous and healthy.
Right. I mean, that tweet really kind of highlights this tricky, this tricky dynamic, right? Like, you can tell it's coming from a place of concern, but it also shows how quickly we tend to jump to conclusions about someone's health just based on how they look. You can see how all that scrutiny, even if it's well-intentioned, can be a lot, especially for someone in the public eye. Like Ariana.
Totally. And Ariana, actually, she addressed these concerns, head on.
Yeah.
She made a TikTok video. And she basically said, she was like, hold up. What you guys considered my healthy look was actually me at my unhealthiest. And she went on to explain that during that time, she was, really relying on antidepressants. And she was drinking while she was on the medication and just not eating well.
Wow. That's really revealing about how we view, what health is supposed to look like for a lot of people. Her look back then probably fit their ideal, but she's saying it was actually a really difficult time for her. It really makes you think about how we connect certain body types with, your well-being without knowing it.
That was the whole story. Yeah. It's a big reminder that we never really know what's going on beneath the surface, right?
Yeah.
So some people were quick to jump to conclusions about her health, but then you've got Life and Style. They're suggesting that maybe her weight loss is stress-induced. They point to, all the pressure of her career, album releases, filming Wicked, all the promotion, plus she's navigating a new relationship, and all that's happening in the public eye.
Right. And they even quote a source who says, when Ariana's stressed, she will forget to eat entirely. Now, it's really important to remember, we're not doctors, so we can't diagnose anything or speculate on Ariana's situation. But it definitely raises the question,
could
stress be a factor here?
Yeah. And everyone handles stress differently, too. Some people, they overeat when they're stressed. Some people lose their appetite completely. It's a complex mix of things, hormones, psychology, and
just individual differences. Yeah, absolutely. And Life and Style, they also mention the backlash that Ariana's gotten for her relationship with Ethan Slater. So they're suggesting that, all that negative attention could be adding to her stress.
It's easy to forget that celebrities, even with all the fame and fortune, they're still human, they have feelings, they're vulnerable, and all that public scrutiny, it can really take a toll, especially when it's combined with personal stuff.
For sure. And this brings us back to Ariana's message in her TikTok video, where she's urging people to be gentler and less comfortable commenting on people's bodies, even if they think it's coming from a good place.
It's a good point. We never really know what someone else is going through.
Yeah.
And making comments about their appearance, even if you mean well, it can be really hurtful.
Exactly. It's about, fostering a culture of respect and understanding, prioritizing empathy and compassion instead of judgment and assumptions.
So we've got this initial wave of concern. Then Ariana's response. And then the possibility that stress is a big factor. But it's not. It's not black and white. What happens when, Ariana's asking for sensitivity, but then she gets hit with, less than sensitive responses. No. It's interesting, right? It's interesting, right? You'd think, a message about being kind and respectful and be universally welcomed, right? But that's not quite what happened.
Yeah. You're right. Both Valor Alert and Life and Style, they both touch on this. There's definitely been some pushback against her stance. Some people are saying that because she's a celebrity, she's kind of opened herself up to all this public commentary, especially when it comes to, changes in her appearance.
Right. It's like this whole debate about where's the line between fair comment and just invasive scrutiny. Like, when is considered to become body shaming or cyberbullying? It gets kind of murky, especially online.
Yeah. It gets complicated, some people feel like.
Yeah.
Celebrities just invite that scrutiny, while others are like, no, everyone deserves basic human respect. It's a tough balance, and there are, like, really strong opinions on both sides. But I think it comes down to personal accountability. Like, regardless of how you feel about celebrities, we're all responsible for what our words do, you know, the impact they have on others.
Yeah. And that can be hard to remember when you're, like, caught up in the world of social media. It's so fast-paced. You just fire off a comment. Well, they're really thinking about the person on the other end.
Exactly. And even comments that seem harmless can contribute to, like, this culture of negativity that can really mess with someone's mental health, their emotional well-being. We got to be mindful of that. So,
Yeah.
how do we navigate this whole complex landscape? How do we reconcile that desire to talk about public figures with the need to respect their privacy and promote a healthy online environment?
Yeah, it feels like walking a tightrope.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's natural to be curious about celebrities, but where do we draw the line?
Right. I think it starts with recognizing that celebrities aren't just characters in our entertainment. They're real people with real lives and real feelings and real challenges, just like us. It's about humanizing them, seeing them as individuals, not just objects of our fascination or our criticism.
I'm remembering that. Words have power, online and offline.
Exactly. Before we comment on someone's appearance, we should ask ourselves, is this necessary? Is it kind? Is it constructive?
And if the answer is no, maybe it's best to just keep scrolling.
Yeah, sometimes. The most compassionate thing you can do, the most respectful thing, is to just listen, observe, and engage in thoughtful dialogue instead of, you know, rushing to judge or adding to the noise.
I like that. Thoughtful dialogue. Instead of jumping to conclusions. It's a good reminder for all of us. So, as we're wrapping up this part of our deep dive, what are the key takeaways here? What should our listeners be thinking about? Okay, so we talked about, like, the initial reactions to Ariana's weight loss and then her response and all the pushback she got for just asking for a little sensitivity. But what does all this tell us about, like, our society's obsession with body image, especially when it comes to women in the spotlight, you know?
It's wild, isn't it? It's like there's this rule book somewhere that says female celebs have to maintain a certain look. And if they, like, stray from that, bam, the scrutiny, the judgments, it's intense.
Yeah.
And social media, forget about it. It's like a magnifying glass on everything. Everyone's got an opinion and they're sharing it instantly. Sometimes I don't think people realize or even care, you know, about the consequences.
Totally. And even life and style. They brought up the pressure Ariana's under with this Wicked movie coming out. It's like she's got this massive accomplishment and the focus shifts to, like, her relationship drama. It makes you wonder if women in the public eye can ever just be, you know, just exist without everyone dissecting their every move.
That's such a good point. It shows how deep this thing goes, this obsession with women's bodies. Like, think about it. We're constantly bombarded with messages about how we should look, and it can be so damaging, you know, to our self-esteem, our body image. It's a lot.
It really is. It's like everyone's a critic now, right? Analyzing every photo, every outfit choice, every little change is, like, put under the microscope. And it's not just celebrities who feel it, it's all of us.
Exactly. We're all swimming in this sea of societal norms, and most of them, like these beauty standards, totally unrealistic. And it's not just about being thin either. It's all tangled up with race and class and gender identity and ability to. The ideal is so narrow, so specific, and it can be really isolating for anyone who doesn't fit that mold. You know what I mean?
For sure. It makes you realize we got to challenge those beauty standards. We need a much broader view of beauty, a more inclusive one that, you know, celebrates all the different shapes and sizes and recognizes that health and happiness, they come in all forms.
Couldn't agree more. We need to shift the focus. It shouldn't be about external validation. It should be about how we feel about ourselves. How are we taking care of ourselves? Mentally, physically, those are the questions we should be asking.
Exactly. It's not about achieving some cookie-cutter ideal. It's about embracing who you are and finding what makes you feel good. In your body and in your mind.
Absolutely. And it's about cultivating empathy and compassion. Realizing that everyone's going through something, right? And instead of judging, we should be supporting each other.
So we've gone deep on Ariana Grande, body image, and just what it's like to live your life under a microscope. As we wrap up, what's the one thing you really hope our listeners take away from this conversation?
I think the biggest thing is this. Let's just try to be more mindful, more compassionate, more supportive. Let's challenge those crazy beauty standards and, you know, create a world where everyone feels good about being themselves. where everyone feels empowered to be their own kind of beautiful and to live authentically.
Beautifully said. And it's a great reminder that we all have a part to play in making that happen, creating a more positive and accepting world. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope it got you thinking and that you'll be part of the solution.
Absolutely. Be kind to yourselves and each other, everyone. Until next time.